everybody, I'm Jammer, and Happy New Year! Apparently, even though there's holidays going on, Nintendo and Isabelle is taking no breaks, because we are getting tons and tons of new Animal Crossing New Horizons footage, screenshots, renders. It's been absolutely non-stop, but hey, they're ramping up because guess what? We got 3 months remaining till this game releases, which just is mind-blowing to me. Meanwhile, while we're out here in the middle of cold winter, Isabelle's coming in to remind us that, hey, don't worry, you'll be on a tropical deserted island before you even know it. So like I mentioned, we got a couple of things to go through here. A little bit of a teaser trailer, we got the official box art for the game, as well as a couple of new in-game screenshots that show a couple of new things. But let's not waste any more time and get right into it. The trailer kind of starts with the doors opening to, like, you know, the Tom Nook and his nephews doing a presentation to a bunch of villagers. I'm not going to go through all the villagers in the room here, but there really is no new ones. I do recognize all of them, at least. But it kind of feels like it's like they're presenting a timeshare kind of thing to all these villagers. And in a sense, it kind of does make sense because, you know, Tom Nook is advertising the deserted island thing as a business for villagers to sign up to move to this deserted island. And it's very strange, the context of it, but I mean, guess technically that is what's going on with this game, you know? So the first shot of actual gameplay we see, it looks like it's just, you know, it's just an overhead view of the island. We're seeing the beach, see some palm trees, see some apples, see some sticks on the ground, weeds, whatever. There's nothing super noteworthy to note here. I mean, there's a cicada on the tree up here, but I guess the only thing worth mentioning, or interesting anyways, is how the river connects to the ocean. The reason I even bring it up, because it does have a little bit of like a rippled line of perhaps like a little bit of a decline of, not like a full waterfall, but maybe like it falling down a little bit. So far, we've never seen any indication that the wetsuit would be returning from New Leaf. For those who didn't play New Leaf, you were allowed to swim freely in the ocean wherever you wanted with the wetsuit to collect crabs and whatever. But you were restricted to swimming up the river because there was a little waterfall at the end of every town's river. Here, there's a much less dramatic waterfall at all, so theoretically, you could swim through the river, but perhaps that's kind of what that line of ripples is. While it's like not a dramatic waterfall like it was in the previous game, perhaps it's just a little bit of a, like, you know, a fall down is enough, so then perhaps, like, if wetsuits do return, maybe this is a way, so then you're not swimming across the river and getting, well, stuck in the river for that matter, because of the banks on the sides. In the next shot, we get our first look at Isabelle. I mean, there was no question that she wasn't going to be returning here, but it's of course great to see her. She's sporting her winter clothes outfit, but later we'll see actually a different outfit she'll be wearing in the box art for the game, so we'll get to that in just a second. We then see a female villager chopping down a tree to get some logs and whatever. We see a tiger butterfly in the background. There's really nothing else of note here, honestly, besides maybe the flower in her hair. But apparently the villagers are completely blown away by the fact that she can just chop a little stick off a tree. The next shot we see is another villager creating paths, another reminder of the absolute customization that this game is going to allow. There is a handful of some new items here. We see the picnic basket returning. We see an oil drum over a fire, which I wonder what that's used for, / like what it even is supposed to be. Like what even, it looks like it's just like a burning trash can. There's actually a couple of things to mention about the villager themselves. First off, we talked about it before, but the overalls being some sort of like full body outfit you could wear. But the more interesting thing here is actually the accessories, because, well, this villager's wearing glasses and a hat, and typically, if you wanted to wear something on your face, that counted as a hat, unfortunately. And sometimes there would be combinations of, you know, like a hat and glasses combo, but there was never a separation between the two. However, here it might indicate that that might be the case, because, I mean, it doesn't necessarily look like these glasses go with this hard hat helmet that with the Tom Nook logo on it. I mean, it could be the case, but it more looks like accessories might be split between headgear and face gear this time around, which will really give players much more customization over their character. And that is honestly it for the trailer. It just abruptly ends on Isabelle being super cute, but we do get a reminder, of course, the March 20 release date, and our first look at the box art. But instead of looking at it here, we're actually going to check it out on the full resolution image, which is right here. There we go. This gives us a much more widescreen look at the actual full box art, and we get a lot closer look at some of the details. The first and most important thing to notice is, of course, Isabelle looking cute as ever. She's got like a Hawaiian shirt pattern going on, as well as a little like white mini skirt, like super, super cute. And of course, there was no question that she wouldn't be returning in this game, but we still don't really know what role she's going to take. She was quite featured in that previous trailer we just looked at, but again, we don't really know what she's going to be doing. I really love to see her in this new outfit here. Like, I love the idea of like the villagers not just being stuck in the same outfits over and over again. And while I'm on this topic, it's worth mentioning that for the new year, they actually showed Timmy, Tommy, and Tom Nook all wearing like festive winter sweaters. So it makes me kind of question, like perhaps based on what season it is in the game, perhaps maybe the townsfolk as well as, you know, like Nook and the rest of those characters will be able to actually switch their clothing based on, you know, the weather that's actually happening. And while we're looking in the back here, I mean, the quite obvious thing to first look at is the brand new character in the back. But if you've been following a lot of the Animal Crossing New Horizons stuff, it's kind of obvious to figure out who this is. This is, of course, the pilot for Dodo Airlines. The airline that was featured in the Nintendo Treehouse E3 footage, as well as the trailer, will most likely be the way that you not only travel to your island, but travel to other islands like your friends' islands, and perhaps wherever you might be able to go from there. Of course, don't know what this character's name is. It might be just Dodo for Dodo Airlines. Moving to the right, we see, well, Chip, I think? This could be a brand new character, or this could be Chip, or maybe perhaps it's like Chip's nephew or something like that, because either Chip has received a massive redesign, or this is just a character that was related to Chip, like, you know, Timmy and Tommy to Tom Nook, for example. Because we've never really seen that in the past where a character in Animal Crossing has received a significant character redesign. Characters have served different roles throughout the series, Tom Nook being the shop owner, to then doing Nook Homes, and now, of course, doing the Deserted Island package. So characters have sported kind of different looks and different clothing, but never a full redesign like this. So it does kind of lead me to believe that perhaps this could be Chip's little brother, nephew, son, who knows. Now if we keep moving along and you look in the distance, you see probably the most exciting image of this entire screenshot. And that is, of course, Harvey on his own island with his own little cottage. And the reason that is exciting is because, well, this is pretty much confirming that you will be able to explore and go to different islands in this game. Harvey, of course, was introduced in New Leaf once they brought the Welcome Amiibo package, and he basically ran the campsite for you, where you could bring in villagers via Amiibo, and you could customize your campsite a little bit, and of course he had his role, of course, in Pocket Camp. So it looks like some form of camping is going to be, again, returning here in New Horizons. Could it be simple as just like how it was in New Leaf, where this is like the Amiibo Island where you can scan in and bring villagers that way? It could be just an area where like villagers will travel in and you can try to bring them to your island. Could it be related even to the island kind of like in Animal Crossing on the GameCube, where it's maybe like a second home away from home? Because there is a full-blown cottage built there rather than, you know, like a tent for just camping. So I'm really not sure what kind of role Harvey's going to play here, but just the idea that he's existing specifically on a different island really excites me, because beyond being able to, you know, be on your island and visiting your friends, there could be his island as well as even more islands to visit throughout your playtime here in New Horizons. So those were the really key new details here on the official box art. You know, we got the Dodo character, Isabelle in her cute outfit, Chip's nephew or something, and of course Harvey on his new island. So beyond that, I think that's about everything for the official box art. But before we wrap up this video, they did post a handful of a couple of new screenshots on the Japanese website. First, we see another screenshot with a collection of 8 villagers, you know, playing online together. It looks to be the same cast we kind of saw in the E3 coverage, where, you know, you had all 8 together. This looks like this image was actually taken in the photo mode that they showed there as well. There are some differences. First of all, the villager with the phone is no longer holding the Shekiah Slate case that we pointed out over the summer at E3. And I think some other villagers are wearing some slightly different clothing than we've seen previously. Next up, we see a villager watering some flowers with their little wooden watering can. Goldie also has one as well, and Stitches is in the back on a swinging bench. This is actually our first look at the hybrid flowers. You can see the villager right now watering the pink tulips, because typically tulips, and any flower for that matter, come in red, white, and yellow, as you can see already on screen. However, she's watering the pink, and as well there are some orange surrounding that same tree. It's going to be interesting to see if the hybrid flower mechanics change at all from previous games, or if it's just a similar thing where it's like just keep 2 of the same flower near each other, or perhaps maybe we could see some expansion beyond what we saw with like the fertilizer in the previous game, to where maybe you can actually encourage a set of 2 flowers to perhaps create a seed to hopefully get a higher chance to get a hybrid flower. In the next screenshot, we see a villager fishing in a full raincoat outfit. This image has just amazing theming. Like, first of all, you got the bucket on the side where theoretically the villager would be putting its fish after catching it. Obviously, it's probably not how it's going to work. In the background, we of course see Lily fishing as well. And then the villagers next to an orange tent which we've seen in the past. And this is probably a villager's tent rather than like your tent, the player character's tent. In this next image, we see it takes place in fall. A villager's here is trying to capture some sort of like grasshopper or maybe a cicada or something along the ground here. But there are some new stuff worth mentioning in this image. First off, we see a couple of leaves falling in the air. We see that during the cherry blossoms and stuff, but that never typically during fall. And that's usually when the leaves actually fall off trees. Building off that, there are a couple of piles of leaves on the ground, which were a furniture item in New Leaf. And perhaps here again they could be just a furniture item because, you know, you can just put furniture wherever in this game. Or it could be actually a building up of leaves over time and you could either clean them up or leave them if you like the aesthetic of keeping all the leaves on the ground. We see two residents in the background, first being Kiki reading a book, lounging under a tree, and wearing a pair of glasses. While the glasses themselves, I believe, are like new, it's not necessarily new of the villagers actually wearing glasses when reading, because if you remember in Lee's Happy Home Designer on Nintendo 3DS, whenever the villagers would interact with like a bookshelf or something, they'd actually put on a small pair of reader glasses. They didn't look like these ones. These ones actually look very similar to the ones we saw the player character wearing in a previous screenshot. So these could be just the readers for this game, or perhaps it could actually mean that animals this time around could wear accessories. I don't know if that's the case. It could. I think it's just because Kiki's reading here in this scenario, but it could indicate something like that. Then on the right here, we got Vesta actually sweeping with a broom. I don't know why she's really making such an excited face. Perhaps because, you know, the player character at the time is trying to catch that bug, and so maybe she's getting, you know, how like the villagers in the past would celebrate when you caught a fish or something. So this could be something similar here. I think, again, this broom is probably not a new tool that you as a player can use. I think it's just another like aesthetic thing that the villagers can walk around with and use to kind of give them more life than just walking in circles throughout the town. And the last thing to mention here that's new is these big piles of just like dry grass. Perhaps they're like tumbleweeds. They kind of look just like dead bushes, basically. Or I guess better described as bundles of hay. You can see some here in the foreground and in the background by the scarecrow, which of course is new as well. Alright, so I wonder if these bundles of hay are specifically placed, or perhaps the bushes you have throughout the town just aesthetically look like hay bales during the fall. It could be any of the case, but it does really add to the fall theming of this shot. And the final image we have is, of course, in winter. We see the Christmas lights reappearing on the pine trees. We see a villager rolling up some snowballs, probably towards the next one on the right, so it could indicate that, of course, the snowman would be returning. Really no surprise there, of course, but it's cool to see that as well. Then we have Fauna and Freya chatting over a campfire in the background, both sporting winter Christmas sweaters, which is like so perfect. It could be just a coincidence, but also could perhaps indicate that based on the season or time of year, the villagers in your town perhaps do change their clothing to more suit the weather at the time. And here, of course, we get a better shot at that, and here, of course, we get a better look at that previously mentioned log cabin house. And of course, it does make sense that it's definitely a villager's house, because it's probably Freya's or Fauna's or whoever's. So yeah, that's about everything in all the new screenshots. To quickly recap some of the new stuff we saw, we got our first look at not only Isabelle, as well as her in her perhaps new summer outfit. We see Chip's perhaps nephew. We get our first look at, of course, the Dodo character, the pilot for Dodo Airlines. And then we saw Harvey on his own island, giving proof that yes, you will be able to travel to not only different islands, but his island, and perhaps do some sort of camping there with whether it be Amiibo, or something integrated with Pocket Camp, or just some brand new feature. We are closing in on the release date of this game, and I could not be more excited. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video and going through these screenshots with me. If you really enjoyed it, give this video a big awesome like. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Animal Crossing New Horizons. Once I'm actually back in town, I have a lot of plans for some more regular videos rather than just some quick update. Let's analyze these new screenshots and videos things. I wasn't even expecting them to be doing this over the holidays, but alas, here we are. So thanks again, guys, so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya!